The EPA just approved an atmospheric viricide for 9,1-divoc. Find out all the details about it here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and as always, you can engage live in the content. Come follow me. I'm right here over on Instagram. It's Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. Go follow me there. We do go live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for being here today. We also simulcast live over on my Facebook page where we got lots of people coming in to watch right now. We also are over on the Twitch feed where I see Kelly and Marcus both popped in to say hello, and lots more on the way. If you missed the live, you can watch it on the replay right here on the Jimmy Rants feed. We do have it on IGTV. Just as soon as this is over, it goes right up onto IGTV over at the Jimmy Rants feed. It's also available for replay on Twitch. If you want to download the Twitch app, go follow Jimmy Rants, and you will find the show, and you can watch it live there as well. Usually at this point, I say you can go to YouTube and see the replay as well, but if you follow my work on social media, you know over the weekend, YouTube decided to give me a strike, and thus I am in YouTube jail until Saturday morning. So if you're watching this replay somewhere, and you usually watch me on YouTube, that's what happened. I got basically banned for a week from posting new content to YouTube, so you're not going to get any of the YouTube videos of Jimmy Rants until Saturday when I'm out of jail and I can upload all the ones from this week. But Saturday and beyond, you'll be able to see it. And then finally, go to JimmyRants.com. You can see all the past episodes there. But good Monday morning to you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. I have a story that you are going to pretty much be shocked by. And of course, I don't do shock value just for shock value. I like to present information, and I've had a lot of conversation with people in comments on social media the past few days. Why are you sharing all this misinformation? Stay in your lane. You're supposed to only talk about low carb and keto. And I'm like, screw that. If there's information related to health, I have a duty, and I've always been this way, a duty to share information to help you improve your health. And so that's what I do here on Jimmy Rants. I don't just talk about health on Jimmy Rants, but in my general work, that is what I talk about. And so what I have to share with you today, I see the lady that tagged me in this, Shifting into Success, friend of mine named Kim. And so Kim, thank you so much for telling me about this story. We're going to get into that here in just a moment about this brand new EPA approval of this ingredient that I'm going to blow your mind today, because they're going to allow this to be put into the air in Georgia and Tennessee. So if you or someone you love lives in Georgia or Tennessee, you're going to be the guinea pigs for the rest of the country, because if it does well there, they're going to roll it out across the country. But just want to give you a sneak peek of the rest of the week. Tomorrow, I will be reading from an article about what the food culture will look like, they're predicting, in the year 2038. It's kind of frightening, some of the things. This was written in 2018, but some of the things they've already written about in there have already come true just a few years later. Then on Wednesday, I have an article about this actress named Jamila Jamil. She's out of the UK, and she's warning influencers and celebrities about pushing the dangerous ketogenic diet. So we'll have that for you on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, I thought this was so apropos. We have lost all ability to critically think. And so on Thursday, I'm going to have a critical thinking 101 session with you to show you what it takes to be a critical thinker. And it's a shame this is not taught in school, but critical thinking is everything. And right now, critical thinking is hampered because people think censorship is okay. Censorship is never okay if you're a critical thinker, because critical thinkers want information of all sorts so that they then can come to a conclusion based on their own thinking and analysis. So, and then Friday is Ask Me Anything. So that's the slate of topics we have for you. But today, I have a ton of paperwork to get through, you guys. We won't read every little word on every little page, but there is this brand new approval of an ingredient that I think you need to be aware of. Now, we've all been, over the past year, pretty much told 9/1-Divock, the worst public health crisis we've ever had. We need to take drastic action. We need to develop the quickest V word in the history of mankind, which they did. And we need to take a look at all the options to deal with this pandemic so that we can get back to normal again. That's kind of been the overriding theme over the past year. So there have been companies trying to develop ways to deal with this virus. And one of those companies is this company called Grignard Company, Grignard. And back in April, I have a story from April. Back in April, they were asking federal and state government approval for their atmospheric haze product that is expected to inactivate, in other words, kill, the coronavirus. And so aerosol viricide, they say, from this Grignard company, has the potential application in commercial buildings, retail establishments, dining, mass transit, all a part of trying to get America open again. So they announced, remember this is from April, that it is seeking approval from federal and state agencies for a product they're calling Grignard Pure. So I'm going to show you a picture of this Grignard Pure. So this is the little logo. Sorry for the Twitch and Facebook feed. It's on the Instagram and main replay feed. But you're going to see this everywhere. Treated with Grignard Pure. And this is going to become the norm, you guys. Remember this little logo. Because when you walk into establishments that are retail, commercial, dining, mass transit, you're going to see this little logo. And especially those of you in Tennessee and Georgia, which we'll get to that story here in a minute, you're going to be the first ones to see this. And this sticker is going to be everywhere. And they want you to know that you're basically getting your air treated by this company. All right. So that's the logo. All right. All right. Here we go. So let's get back to the story. This Grignard Pure product is known as an atmospheric viricide. It creates a light atmospheric haze throughout an indoor space that supposedly inactivates enveloped viruses, such as the novel coronavirus, on non-porous hard surfaces and in the air where it's most dangerous. So imagine this. There's just this little haze through the air. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Oh, yeah, I can barely see you because there's such a haze. It's going to be in the air. And we're going to get into in a minute what's in this stuff. And what's in this stuff you need to be concerned about. Grignard Pure is currently under review. Back in April, it was under review for emergency exemption from the EPA. So that's the Environmental Protection Agency and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. It also is under review at the Department of Homeland Security. And they expect favorable rulings from all agencies within the coming days, again back in April. The implications of this airborne viricidal properties of Grignard Pure have profound urgency given the recent study showing that this 9/1-Divock may be propelled from an infected individual further than previously thought and stay airborne and virulent for a longer period of time. All right, so that was what they called for way back in April. Well, now that we're in January 2021, the EPA just released last Thursday, January 14th, they have now issued an emergency exemption for an antiviral air treatment of Grignard Pure to be used in certain indoor spaces where social distancing can be challenging. This exemption is only granted right now to Georgia and Tennessee. After carefully reviewing the safety and efficacy data, The EPA has determined that this product will provide another tool to assist Americans during the current health crisis. All right, so I printed out what one of these EPA letters says about this. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, hereby authorizes a public health exemption under the provisions of Section 18 of the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act to the Georgia Department of Agriculture, as well as the Tennessee one, for the use of, here's the word I want you to know today. Down in the notes, all you see is TEG, but TEG stands for triethylene glycol. Now, if that sounds familiar, you might recall a few weeks back, I did a Jimmy Rants all about an ingredient that is in the 9,1-divoc V word. Remember that one? Polyethylene glycol. It's in the same family of chemicals, and you'll recall that polyethylene glycol, PEG is what that one's called, can have interesting effects in the body, which could lead to autoimmune disease, could lead to anaphylactic shock, and can lead to death. And it's commonly found in a lot of creams and other things. So people already have this in their system, and then they're getting injected with more of it, and some of the people having reactions to the V word, that's the reason they're having the reaction. Well, now the EPA is saying, oh, well, we have a cousin of polyethylene glycol. It's called triethylene glycol, formulated as this product Grignard Pure. It's an unregistered product for air treatment in indoor spaces, whether they're occupied or unoccupied, in the state of Georgia and Tennessee, as a means of controlling the spread of 9,1-divoc. This exemption is subject to the conditions set forth in the request, and it has the following conditions. Basically, they're telling them you have to kind of give us a report every 6 months about what's going on, whether you still need it, The unregistered product contains 52.25% triethylene glycol active ingredient, and it may be used under this exemption beginning on January the 14th, which was last week. Product is ready to use to be applied through designated portable dispersal devices. In other words, they're going to have these little dispersals to spray this stuff in the air so that it can then do its job to supposedly kill 9,1-divoc. It would be dispersed for up to 12 hours in a row. Dispersal is to achieve an airborne concentration enough to try to surround the 9,1-divoc, and corresponds to a non-invisible haze to a light moderate haze, respectively. Application is for use in indoor spaces only, whether they're occupied or not occupied, as a means of treating the air in the following listed indoor spaces when in adherence to current public health guidelines. If that's impractical, if it's difficult to maintain, basically if you can't socially distance and you can't have people wearing masks in very close quarters, this is kind of the reason why you would use this product. Areas of concern include break rooms. So if you work at a job and they put this system in, it's going to be in the break room, it's going to be in locker rooms, bathrooms, lobbies, elevators, eating areas, and food preparation areas within healthcare facilities, buses, trains, and subways, food processing but not food services, indoor spaces within buildings, including government facilities where people are conducting activity deemed essential by the state and allowed by the state lead agency. So the requested emergency uses are expected to supplement all the current disinfectant products and procedures. So if they're already using kind of a wipe down measure, they're Cloroxing everything. I know when I go to the post office, after every customer, they're wiping everything down like thoroughly with a bleach wipe or some other disinfectant. This is going to be on top of those measures. If you're just joining us, I'm talking about a brand new EPA-approved product called Grignard Pure. And I'm going to put it on the screen again for those of you that missed it at the beginning. This is now going to be a little sticker you're going to see on windows, and inside buildings and inside areas where they're basically going to spray this haze that is supposed to kill 9,1-divock. This is supposed to be the answer, you guys. And of course, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was, so if we have this measure that supposedly kills 9,1-divock, what do we need the V word for? If this is the grand answer, why don't we just spray this crap everywhere and just kill this thing? If it's the answer, right? All right, so I'm going to get back to the story. All right, so they're going to train them on how to use it, managers and spacious. Okay, so on the signage that they have for this, they're going to put this warning. Grignard Pure may cause temporary irritation in sensitive individuals. I am one of those people who is highly sensitive to anything chemical. I don't like bleach. I can smell bleach 2 rooms away. I'm just hypersensitive to those kinds of smells. So if there's this haze in the air of this Grignard Pure, I know I'm going to have a reaction to it. If you experience any eye, nose, or throat irritation, immediately leave the space and get fresh or outdoor air. The signage should also have a contact number so you can report any adverse effects. Well, I mean, if they kind of know people are going to have adverse effects, why would they expose them to this? This doesn't make sense. All right, so they're going to put this on the stock exchange so people can buy into it. So the public health exemption will expire 1 year from the date of issuance. Issuance of this emergency exemption does not constitute an endorsement. So the EPA is like, yeah, we're going to give you this emergency use, but we're not endorsing this. That's the CYA for later in case people have problems with this down the road. They don't want to be responsible. Well, we told you we didn't endorse it. We're just kind of telling you it's available for emergency use. All right, so that is the letter that they sent to the states of Georgia and Tennessee. And again, if you joined us late, Georgia and Tennessee, you're going to be the guinea pigs for this brand new EPA approval of this product called Grignard Pure. You're going to be seeing a lot of signs with this Grignard Pure everywhere, and it's supposed to kill 9,1-divock. The problem is Grignard Pure ain't as pure as you might think it is. So I went to the Grignard Pure website, and I wanted to see a little more about what they say about their product. And so in here, they say if you get it in your eyes handling the liquid product, it could cause irritation, major irritation. If it's on the skin while handling the product, you could have irritation as well. If you swallow, it's basically poison. You're going to poison yourself, which begs the question. If in the liquid form you swallow it, it's poison. What do you think you're doing when you're breathing it and it's in this constant 12 hours continuous distribution in the air? We're supposed to suck in these chemicals? And that's better than fresh air and taking our chances with 9,1-divock? That passed the smell test for you? All right. They claim, and this is all from their website, the Grignard Pure website, they claim right there on their website that their continuous antimicrobial air treatment kills 98% of airborne SARS-CoV-2 when it's in use. Follow all the mitigation guidelines set up. It's not to be relied upon as a sole mitigation, but as a supplemental to all the other things. Oh, wait a minute. We've been told if you just wear a mask, that takes care of it. So why is this thing now going to be an addendum to that? That makes no sense. All right, so we already mentioned triethylene glycol, which we're going to get into here in a minute, comprises 52.25% of this ingredient, so that's over half of it. So they give all the instructions about how to handle this. They want to use this in hospitals, nursing homes, medical offices, dental offices, resident and inpatient rooms, emergency rooms, waiting areas, operating rooms, intensive care unit, buses, trains, subways, food processing, indoor spaces of all kinds. And that's pretty much what they want to see happen with this. So they actually gave Tennessee and Georgia this emergency use for this Grignard Pure through January 13th, 2022. So they're giving them 1 year to basically use this product. All right. So let's read some of the marketing from their website. Grignard Pure is the first of its kind antimicrobial air treatment technology. Kills more than 98% of the SARS-CoV-2 virus in the air in occupied spaces where transmission is most likely. This product is continuously effective when it's continuously in use. It is currently seeking approval, which it got from the EPA, for an emergency exemption that will allow for the use in certain states and in specific locations. It reduces the level of airborne virus particles by around 100 times, making it an added value to all the other measures. It is grounded in a legacy of chemistry, innovation, and a vision built on scientific credibility. Don't you love how the marketing oozes of, please buy my bullshit? Grignard investor Victor Grignard won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for what's called the Grignard reagent. Grignard Pure's advisory team includes people that are public health, environmental science and engineering, microbiology and pharmacology doctor and specialists from various institutions from Harvard, Oxford, Rutgers, Johns Hopkins, and NYU. That's an appeal to authority, by the way. The only reason they list all of that and all those institutions is, you can trust us. Look who we have on our advisory panel. That's all that is. Grignard Pure is an innovative technology known as an antimicrobial air treatment. It will combat the spread of SARS-CoV-2 that causes the 9-1-DIVOC disease. It works reducing the number of viral particles in indoor locations in the air where transmission is likely. Its efficacy and health and safety have been rigorously tested by all the leading global testing facilities. There are several key reasons why it can be an important component of an overall set of protocols. It would be the only antimicrobial air treatment capable of killing 9-1-DIVOC, in contrast to all the disinfectants that the EPA lists as approved only for hard surfaces. So they're bragging. Look, we're the first one that's going to be the Febreze for the air for 9-1-DIVOC. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control in May of 2020 explains how 9-1-DIVOC spreads, confirming that there's a great need, remember this is still from the marketing from Grignard Pure's website, for our product. 9-1-DIVOC spreads easily and sustainably from person to person. Primary route is through contact with respiratory droplets produced when a nearby person coughs, sneezes, or just talks. It may be possible for 9-1-DIVOC to spread from touching the mouth, eyes, and nose after touching surfaces or objects that have it on it. However, that is not the main way it spreads. Grignard Pure works as a pathogenic particle, leaving the person from talking, coughing, or sneezing, and it reduces the risk of infections. This is a major advantage because disinfecting hard surfaces makes it safe only after someone coughs or sneezes on it. Grignard Pure, when used as directed, it will promote the opening of the economy. Oh, everybody wants that. We can go to entertainment venues again, and concerts, and movies, retail establishments, commercial buildings, restaurants, mass transit. All will be well again. You see how they're kind of painting this rosy picture and that they are the answer? Does that sound familiar? Sounds like what they're telling us with the V word right now. In addition, further testing may indicate that Grignard Pure could help enable the relaxation of the social distancing guidelines. Oh, I get to touch people again. Oh my God. So how does this product work? It gets a little technical, but it's important to know Grignard Pure forms small droplets that then float in the air. So there's these droplets, they're just kind of meandering in the air. The active ingredient in the Grignard Pure vapor and nanoparticles actually condense on virus particles. And again, we're going to get into the main ingredient here in a minute, but it ain't good, that TEG that we'll talk about. And so it surrounds the virus particles, reaching a lethal germicidal level. The active ingredient in the droplets then permeate into the virus, disrupt the protein and membrane, and basically kill it. What this simply means is that Grignard Pure kills the virus as the particles leave the person from talking. So if this stuff is floating in the air as a little haze, this Grignard Pure, and that haze is lingering and you're spitting in the air, as soon as it hits the air, this stuff surrounds it, grabs your particles, and kills any potential 9,1-divoc if you're infected. So how effective is this? Grignard Pure, testing undertaken by Microchem, a leading globally recognized lab for airborne virus testing, confirms it kills more than 98% of airborne virus particles. That's interesting. So there's a 2% chance you could still get 9,1-divoc, even with this haze and sucking in all this TEG, which we'll talk about here in a minute. 98%. Does that seem dubious to you? Don't we want 100%? It's almost like we want people wrapped in a bubble the way we're reacting now. 98%, is it good enough? Apparently so. The reduction of viruses is directly related to viral load. Since the viral load will be decreased because it'll be killing most of them in the air, the risk of infection is correspondingly reduced. So they're using it in all kinds of places where it's impractical to distance, like we talked about, all those places earlier. So how will you know if you're in a location where this Grignard Pure is in use? And I've already shown you on the screen a few times, but there it is. That is the little logo that you're gonna see whenever they put a sticker up whenever this is in use. And it does come with that warning that I read earlier. Okay. So what states will be added to the list? Right now it's currently Georgia and Tennessee. So if you live or you know somebody who lives in the state of Georgia or Tennessee, let them know about what I'm sharing here today on Jimmy Rants about this Grignard Pure, because it's going to get out there. And I want to talk about this ingredient, triethylene glycol. So this is the big active ingredient. This is the thing that does what it does to 9,1-divoc. So let's get into this a little bit. Okay, before I get into that, I had one other article that I thought was really interesting that is a nice segue into that. So this ingredient, this triethylene glycol, is actually an ingredient. Have you ever seen those fog machines when you go to a concert or something like that? That has some triethylene glycol in it. And there's interest in whether those fog machines and haze generators would actually hinder the spread of 9,1-divoc. And so there's some claims, and in this website, firstoption.group, I found an expert who responded to some of the claims. So if you use this fog machine to deal with 9,1-divoc in indoor spaces, number one, that would be weird unless you had walk-up music. And now, from Spartanburg, South Carolina, here comes Jimmy Moore. Like, you would have a fog machine in an office? Does that, I mean, it's kind of laughable, the visual, if you think about it. Ooch, 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 ooch. No, I don't think that's going to fly. So the claim is that the oil haze particles are sterile. Most of these machines take pharmaceutical grade white oil or a water glycol mix and heat it up high enough to evaporate to form the mist. The temperatures are such that as the mist comes out of the nozzle, it will be sterile in and of itself, will not be adding to the infectious burden in the air. Note, we're not talking about water foggers that use heat to vaporize. So that's the first claim. Second claim is the oil haze particles will not support virus growth. Viruses can only reproduce in specific target cells found in the specific host. They don't utilize any carbon source like oil. Fog created by these units is identical to some of the ones they're using in the public schools right now. True but irrelevant. The standard cited refers to fog machines in test filtration systems in clean rooms. That does not mean the machine itself is providing any kind of disinfection. This claim does not speak to that. Another claim about these fog machines that they could block respiratory droplets so they fall quickly. It's sort of true but irrelevant. It sounds plausible that droplets in the air might slow down respiratory droplets and help them fall to the ground. This question gets insanely complicated very, very quickly because it gets into things like Stokes' law, the Wells curve, surface tension, and phase dynamics. But let's assume everything's a sphere and think about a moving respiratory droplet colliding with a stationary fog droplet, the sort of fog droplets you might encounter from a fog machine. Respiratory droplets come in a range of sizes, but let's think about the small ones that linger for a bit. And he goes into a little bit of the mathematics there. Yes, if we ignore a lot of potentially confounding factors, it could be possible that fog droplets could coalesce with the respiratory droplets and slow them down, but we don't know. We just don't know. Another claim, it's been scientifically proven that fog liquid kills germs. And there's a paper out there from 1950 doing the rounds, which claims that it proves the chemicals used in fog kill bacteria and viruses. But if you read the paper, it doesn't contain the detail that you're looking for. And so that's kind of what he's looking at. And the big thing here is this ingredient. And that's what I want to turn the rest of this Jimmy Rants to, is looking at this specific ingredient, triethylene glycol. I think it's funny that triethylene glycol needed an emergency use protection from the EPA to not be considered like a pesticide or some other toxic thing in the air. That is very suspect. Do you have another hairball? You seem to hairball every time I do Jimmy Rant Skunk. Yeah? Cough it up. Get it out. Maybe she needs some triethylene glycol. Just kidding. So the EPA is proposing to exempt residues of this antimicrobial pesticide in triethylene glycol from the requirement of a tolerance when used for food contact. This was done, you guys. This particular action by the EPA was done in July of 2020. July of 2020. Oh, we're going to exempt it from the pesticide. Is that concerning in July? Did they know that this was coming down the pike? Well, I guess they did, because this company in April that makes this product I've been telling you about the whole show, they applied it in April for emergency use. And so by July, the EPA was already kind of setting it up where, yeah, we're going to let you use this. Just give us time to get our ducks in a row legally. So what's in this triethylene glycol? I've printed out a few of what I could find online, safety information sheets. Triethylene glycol has uses in antifreeze and heat exchange fluid. It is an acute oral toxicity. It's harmful if swallowed, in contact with skin, or inhaled. What? They just admitted it has acute toxicity if inhaled. It also causes skin irritation, eye irritation, and may be harmful if swallowed or enter your air pathway. Now wait a minute. 9-1-Divock is a respiratory virus. And we're going to put something in the air to kill 9,1-divoc that has the potential to cause respiratory distress. Does anybody see the problem with this? What are they thinking? All right. Remove, if someone breathes this in, remove from exposure area to fresh air immediately. If breathing stops, perform artificial resuscitation. Well, yeah, don't let them just sit there and die. Keep person warm and at rest. Treat symptomatically and supportively. Seek medical attention immediately. Administer oxygen as soon as possible. Can you imagine if you're somebody like myself who is extremely sensitive to smells? I mean, when I used to sing in the church choir many years ago, there was this lady that always put on a ton of perfume on Sunday mornings. And she was over in the alto section. I was in the bass section, 2 sections over, and I couldn't breathe. I mean, it literally would overpower my eyes and my throat would clog up. And oh my gosh, it was horrible. That's how sensitive I am. So would I have these issues with this ingredient in this product? Probably. If you swallow it, give large amounts of fresh water or milk immediately. Do not give anything by mouth if unconscious or unable to swallow. Keep head below hips to prevent aspiration. If vomiting, treat symptomatically. Seek medical attention. If it's in the eyes, comes in contact with the eyes, flush the eyes with lots of water. If persistent irritation occurs, obtain medical attention. Well, these things are going to be in the air, in the haze. How do they expect it not to get on the eyeballs, especially if you're in an office building all day long? They're allowed to spray this 12 hours continuously a day. How does it not get in the eyes? Skin, remove contaminated clothing, wash affected skin with soap and water. If persistent irritation occurs, obtain medical attention. And then note to physician, all treatment should be based on observed signs and symptoms of distress in the patient. Consideration given to the possibility that overexposure to materials other than this product may have occurred. Oh, that's a CYA. That's a CYA. So, let's blame the patient because they had overexposure to other things and this just pushed them over the edge. Crazy. All right. Let's see if there's anything else here. That's on handling it. All right, exposure controls. Good general ventilation is needed. Ventilation rate should be matched to the conditions. In other words, they don't want to pump too much of this stuff in the air because at a certain level, it would be way too toxic for most people. The problem is, how do you know that even at the lower levels of distribution of this haze in the air, that people won't be exposed to toxicity? Certain people will have big trouble even at the lowest setting. Why is this not being taken into consideration? All right. All right, let's go to the next one. Trying to see, there was something about respiratory that I wanted to mention. I think I might. Yeah, respiratory tract infection. High concentrations of vapor may cause irritation in your respiratory tract. Experiences nasal discomfort and discharge. You can also have chest pain. You're going to think you're having a heart attack? And coughing. Specific target organ toxicity. Inhalation of concentrations of this vapor can cause problems in the respiratory tract, nasal discomfort, discharge, chest pain, coughing, headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, drowsiness. Can you imagine if this is your workplace and they're pumping this in your workplace and you're trying to be productive and you can't breathe because you're sucking in chemicals? May cause mild to severe irritation in your eyes with discomfort and pain, excessive blinking, tear production, redness in the eyes, swelling of the conjunctiva, I'm trying to see the effects of long-term, low-level exposures to this product have not been tested. Let me read that again. The effects of long-term, low-level exposures to this product have not been determined. You live in the state of Georgia, you live in the state of Tennessee, where this is allowed now, starting now, to be pumped in heavily into your workplace. Oh, come on back to work. We got this little gunk that's going to be in the air. Yeah, it'll be a little bit hazy in the air, but it's okay. Effects of long-term, remember they get this emergency use for the next year. The effects of long-term, low-level exposure has not been determined. Safe handling of the material on a long basis should emphasize the avoidance of all effects from repetitive acute exposure. This product will definitely aggravate eye, skin, and respiratory conditions over long periods of time. Droplets of the product aspirated into the lungs through ingestion or vomiting can cause chemical pneumonia. What happens when somebody gets chemical pneumonia from sucking this stuff in? Is that a workman's comp issue? You better believe it if it's work. But what if you're at a concert? Who's responsible for that? This has lawsuit written all over it. And as far as I know, unlike the 9,1-divox V-word companies, this company here, this Grignard company making the Grignard Pure, they do not have legal immunity. I think they're just setting themselves up for disaster. The product is not classified as environmentally hazardous. However, this does not exclude the possibility that large spills could have an effect on the environment. All right, see if there's anything else. But you're getting the picture here. You can see that this isn't some just safe for you, non-toxic, doesn't have any problems whatsoever. What's interesting is the EPA, oh yeah, we see no problem with this. It's kind of like all the powers that be at the CDC and elsewhere. Well, the V word is safe and effective. And if I hear one more health authority say, oh, it's been proven to be safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective, that repetitive use of that language is meant to condition you into not believing what your own two eyes are telling you. That's where we are. All right, I think I have most of the information. This is just a bit of duplication of some of the information I've already shared with you. Let me look at one more. Cisco had one of the reports, and they're a very well-known company for looking at these kinds of things. Let's see if there's anything else in here that they say regarding this exposure. All right, so yeah, they're talking about the skin and hands and respiratory ingestion. It has a mild odor, has no taste that they listed here. It's colorless, so it looks like water. Okay, I think this gives you the general idea. Well, what do you think about this? Like, I think all the measures they have been putting into place, trying to deal with 9,1-divox, and I appreciate innovation. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate innovation, but do we really want to be sucking in a bunch of chemicals that have all those side effects that I just mentioned, all at the holy altar of trying to avoid a virus that has a 99.997% survival rate in people under the age of 70, which would be the people working in office buildings, which would be the people primarily going to concerts and all this other uses that it would be used for. I'm just concerned. And if you go to the hospital, you're going to be subjected to this. Is that not ironic? That you go to the very place to help you with some medical condition, and it could be the instigator for you getting another medical condition. I'm very concerned about these kinds of things, and I wanted to bring it to your attention today, especially. I'm going to remind you, you got anybody you love in the states of Georgia or Tennessee, you're going to be the guinea pigs for the United States of America, because these are going to show up in office buildings and at concert venues and all kinds of places that are indoor. This is going to show up in your states first. So be looking, again, I'm going to put it on the screen, for this sticker, treated with Grignard Pure. And it's going to be everywhere, you guys. Everywhere. And you just need to be aware of this. This is going to be the new normal. Is this what's going to help us get back to, quote, normal again? God, I hope not. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. We're going to come here first to Instagram, then over to Facebook, finally over to Twitch. Thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. See what you have to say. Kat says, what's up with UV light? Extremely effective, and it's been in use in many stores for ages in cart collecting areas. Yeah, I mean, UV light was a huge story in the middle of last year. There were some researchers that were like highlighting that. Hey, look, UV light kills this thing. They quickly got shut up, didn't they? And it's a whole lot less toxic to use UV light than to use these chemicals with TEG. I'm already going to public spaces 1 to 2 times a month. Time to decrease it if we are exposed or supposed to be indoors anyway. Yeah. Time to limit public places even more. Already down to only a few a month. Outdoors is our everything. Yeah. And I think moving things outdoors is a great thing, because the chances of particles lasting in the air outdoors is very, very minuscule compared to indoors. But covering it up with a bunch of chemicals indoors, I don't think is the answer either. Shirley says, it looks like it's time to move. Well, I don't know where you're going to move to, because if the United States is the one doing this, trust me, the rest of the world is watching what we're doing. Vast majority have many more chemicals to breathe at their home. Cars, plastic, cheap paint, laminates, carpets, so another droplet in the ocean. Well, yeah, but there are those of us who have removed all of those toxins from our life, Kat, and we don't have those in our life anymore because we don't want them. We feel better too. Give us more data on how long the virus stays in the air. It doesn't last long. Yeah, they're basing it on the data from last summer, before that new data that you're now citing even came out. So this is the thing. This thing has evolved. Our information about this thing has evolved so fast, it's hard to keep up with what the current is. And by the time some of these companies develop something based on data from almost a year ago, the new data makes their product irrelevant now. They try to take all possible and impossible measures without trying to study this 9,1-divoc V word or virus, or did they? And just choose not to disclose. Yeah, that's the big if right now. We just don't know. Kim says, didn't we stop spraying kids with DDT, going against the science of the time and some serious side effects? I mean, I haven't done all the research, but it seems like we're repeating history. Oh, we're repeating history in a lot of ways, and it ain't good, Kim. It ain't good. So much of what's happening with the free speech being shut down and censorship, this is just out of the playbook of the 40s and 50s. Read your history, people. So disappointing, people don't even remember basic history. Bobby says, thanks for the info. You're welcome. Joshua says, this seems like a slick business plan for someone. Yeah, they're there. Shirley says, I'm in Georgia. Well, just be ready. If you see that sign on the door, just be ready. Kat says, and that data about how long the virus stays in the air was from the lab, not in a real life situation. So much of this is based on models and labs. Remember, all of the measures with 9,1-divoc, which include lockdowns and everything, that was all predicated on we're going to lose 2 million people are going to die of 9,1-divoc once it hits U.S. shore. And we got nowhere near that. So the models and the labs can definitely be wrong. All right, thank you, Instagram. Let's pop over here now to Facebook. We'll come over to Twitch next. What's up, Facebook? Thanks for being here today. This is so stupid. I don't disagree. Vicky says, and have some adverse effects from sucking in this TEG? Nope, I'll stay home. Norma says it sounds like chemical warfare in the making. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because you can't force people to breathe something they don't want to breathe. Or can they? I guess if they require it in these businesses, I guess they can, unless you just stay hunkered up in your home all day. Margie says, I just told my friend in Georgia about this. She had no idea. Thanks for the heads up. You're welcome. That's why I do Jimmy Rants. It's a public service to help inform. I've had some pretty ugly comments over the past few days of people telling me I'm not allowed to talk about all of these things related to 9,1-divoc because I'm not a virologist. No, I'm not a virologist, but I'm a thinker. And I'm someone who's good at purveying information and communicating that information. And so I don't have to be a virologist to be able to share good information that I think can help you in your health journey. So it's what I've always done. Why are people surprised that Jimmy Moore cares about helping people have information that helps them on their health journey? That's been my motto from day one, 16, 17 years ago that I started doing this. I'm just amazed people get their panties in a wad because I dare talk about something that's going to improve people's health. Sounds like someone's national bank is going to profit. Well, I don't know. All right, thank you, Facebook. Let's come over here to Twitch. What's up, Twitch? See if we can get you guys' comments in here. I'm going to pull you a little closer because I can't see. Do I want to become famous? I am famous. Thank you for that, though. Appreciate that. It was a spam ad. Cariana says all of these things we're being exposed to, which we don't even know about. It makes those off-grid Alaska people onto something. Yeah, it really does. So Marcus did a little bit of research. He said, I found the closest thing I can find for this product. It lists the chemical as an endocrine disruptor. So he wanted to see what the decal looks like again. So if you're looking on the main page, I'm going to go ahead and throw it up there so you guys can see. And I'll show you guys here in a second on Facebook. But yeah, they have this little sticker that's going to be on the door. And trust me, it will be very prominent, and you'll know that this right here is what will be on the door. And they'll have this warning. So there'll be a little sticker right at the front door. So be ready for that. Take a screenshot of that in 3, 2, 1. All right, now we're going to show it over here for you guys. You guys get it on the screen over at the Instagram feed. All right, and so you can see it full screen. There it is with the warning. So that sticker is going to be everywhere with this 9,1-divoc supposedly killer. To me, it's kind of funny that they're allowed to say that it kills 9,1-divoc, because a lot of the videos getting deleted from YouTube because you can't make a claim like that. So what happens if you make a claim like that, but you get EPA approval? Are you now able to say that? I mean, I don't know. Which virologist should we listen to? They're on both sides of the issue. Exactly, Joshua. When some of the people like take me to task, well, you're not a virologist. I'm like, the virologists don't agree. And so the virologists don't agree, and we've got medical professionals that come at it from both sides. The problem is when you're a medical professional or virologist that goes on the other side, they remove your videos. I just posted one today on Instagram from this lady who was looking at the 9,1-divoc V word and some of the concerns that she had about it and the ingredients used in it. They deleted her video. She is an MD. They just outright deleted her video. I had posted it on my stories, and I went and checked, and that one is gone. It's just gone. So this stuff ain't going away. And these measures, like what I'm sharing with you here today, these aren't going away either. Do you want to suck in toxic chemicals or take your chances sucking in fresh air and then getting 9,1-divock in the wild? To me, I'm just ready to get it and get the immunity and be done with it. I don't understand why there's this great fear over this thing. Again, like I said in previous Jimmy Rants, if this thing had a 25-30% death rate, I could see all the measures we're doing now and I would probably agree with them. But for a 0.003% death rate for people under the age of 70, we're going to all these draconian measures, which, oh yeah, by the way, don't come without consequences. Never mind the consequences of lockdown or the consequences of keeping people apart from other people or the consequences of sucking in all these kinds of chemicals. The cure cannot be worse than the thing itself. And that's unfortunately where I think we are. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content. Come follow me right here over on Instagram. I'm at Jimmy Rants over there. So go follow me, Jimmy Rants. And we would love to have you there. We are going live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So thank you so much for being here today. We also simulcast live on Facebook and Twitch. If you missed the live, you can watch it on the replay over on the Jimmy Rants Instagram page on IGTV. So as soon as this is over, it will go right up there. It's also available on Twitch. As soon as this is over and I press stop, the replay is available to watch on Twitch. Normally it would be available on YouTube, but this week Jimmy's in YouTube jail. So for this week, all of the Jimmy Rants will not be able to be uploaded until Saturday. So I will do that on Saturday all at one time. But you can always watch them at JimmyRants.com. All right, guys, come back tomorrow because I do have this really cool article. It was written back in 2018, but it was predicting what the food culture would look like in the year 2038. And some of the stuff they put in here that they thought was going to happen 20 years in the future at the time, we're already seeing it start to happen now. So stay tuned for that. It'll be very interesting. So until then, we'll see you then. All right.